In many parts of the world, we're about to celebrate Father's Day, and I wanted to take a few moments in this video to talk to pastors and preachers and ministry leaders about Father's Day, but particularly about honoring fathers and mothers. The most popular date for Father's Day is the third Sunday in June. That date was first observed for Father's Day in the United States, and it has since been adopted by many countries around the world, but not all of them. In Spain, Italy, and Portugal, Father's Day is celebrated on March 19th, so we've already missed that, which is the feast of Saint Joseph, who's the patron saint of fathers. In Germany, Father's Day is celebrated on the same date as Ascension Day. Across Scandinavia, the tradition of Father's Day was adopted in the 1930s, and it was originally the same as the American date, but in 1949, the Nordic countries decided to move it to the second Sunday in November. This was partly put there so it was 6 months away from Mother's Day, but also hopefully to increase the pre-Christmas sales period. There was one country that didn't fall in line, and that was Denmark. They actually forgot to inform the public and the press about the date change. So in Denmark, Father's Day remained on the same day as it had previously been in June. In Taiwan, Father's Day is celebrated on August 8th because the Chinese word for 8 is ba. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. There's a colloquial word for father that sounds like ba ba, so the 8th day of the 8th month sounds similar to that word. This was also the date for Father's Day in mainland China, but that date was then moved to the third Sunday in June. So listen, wherever you celebrate Father's Day, or even if your nation doesn't, I have a couple of quick thoughts for you, especially for the preachers and pastors as you prepare your people for Father's Day. And I want to look with you in Exodus chapter 20 in the Ten Commandments. And we all know the Ten Commandments, it's clearly divided into two sets of 5. The first in verses 1 through 12, each of the first 5 commands have the phrase, the Lord your God. First one starts out, I am the Lord your God. Then he says, and verse 5, I, the Lord your God. Verse 7, the name of the Lord your God. Verse 10 speaks of the Sabbath of the Lord your God. So the Lord your God, the Lord your God, the Lord your God. Now the next 5 commandments start with the phrase, you shall not. So you have the Lord your God. These first 5 are all about God. And then the you shall not, the next 5 are all about how we treat people. They're all about relationships here on earth. So you've got 5 that are clearly directed at the Lord our God, and then 5 that are clearly directed at the other fallen, fallible humans here on earth. Now, obviously, the way we relate to the Lord our God does impact the way we relate to humans, but we do have this clear demarcation in these 10 commandments. Now, verse 12, commandment number 5 seems to be sort of the pivotal change of pace commandment because it connects to the Lord your God, but it also speaks of human relations. Here we go. Honor your father and mother that your days may be long in the land, here it is, that the Lord your God is giving you. So it's connected to the Lord our God, but it also relates to human interactions, particularly father and mother. Paul repeats this same command and says it's the only command with a promise that it will go well with us. And so as we approach Father's Day, or really any time of the year, as pastors, as preachers, as spiritual leaders, part of our task is to help people learn how to honor father and mother. And I think the starting point is to realize that honoring doesn't mean we get to choose whether we think they're honorable or not. Most of us, when it comes to father and mother, we could tell 2 completely different stories. We can make father and or mother look like saints if we leave certain things out, or we can make them look like devils if we focus on certain things. Because the fact is, every one of us are fallen humans. Every one of us are marred by sin. Every one of us have certain proclivities that are not godly, and every one of us have fallen areas of our lives where we fall short of the glory of God. And in doing so, we tend to hurt other people. So we can always find fault, but honoring father and mother gets past that. Honoring father and mother is about remembering the greatness and forgiving what's not so great. On January 28th, 2002, at 9 p.m., my dad breathed his last breath and slipped from time into eternity. He was 74 years old. His tired lungs just stopped working. He died peacefully because he was finally at peace with God after a lifetime of resisting the gospel and running from God. His journey to God hit warp speed when he flatlined while in the ER on October 11th, 2001. The doctors were able to revive him, but more importantly, the Lord visited him. While laying on his back in the ER, he came face to face with the God of eternity and lived to tell about it. He told my brother that when his heart stopped, he had a vision that God was giving him one last chance. In the vision, as he watched the doctors, he looked down and saw them frantically trying to revive him. He suddenly saw a whiskey bottle, a pack of cigarettes, a handgun, and a Bible floating around his lifeless body in the emergency room. In that second, he knew he had a choice to make. He decided that in that moment, he would choose the Bible rather than the things that were destroying his life. 3 months later, he would face God again, this time forever. This time he was ready. While on the plane trying to get to Mississippi in time to see Dad one more time, I wrote what would be my last words to him. I read these words at his funeral a few days later. Here's what I wrote. Thanks, Dad, for never missing a baseball game, basketball game, football game, track meet, birthday party, or anything else that mattered to me as I was growing up. Thanks for being there for me. Every time I crossed the finish line at a high school track meet, when I fell through the frozen lake while duck hunting when I was 9, when Mike Croswell's easy grounder rolled under my glove at second base, costing us the Little League championship. You were always there for me, and I'm glad the Lord allowed me to be there with you when you crossed your final finish line. Thanks for trusting me, accepting me, supporting me, especially when I grew long hair in the 70s, quit the football team in 10th grade, became a pastor rather than your business partner, and moved to the other side of the world to be a missionary. Thanks for teaching me to ride a bike and drive a car, throw a baseball and hit a golf ball, to fly fish and quail hunt, to work hard and save money, to write a check and pick a mutual fund, to be a real boy and a real man, to be a good son and a good father. Happy Father's Day, Dad. I miss you. I'll see you in a few years. Exodus 20 again says this, honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God has given you. Preachers, pastors, spiritual leaders, let's set an example of honoring father and mother, and let's teach and preach and train and mentor those who look to us for spiritual leadership what it looks like to honor mothers and fathers. And in so doing, we will end up honoring God.